আসসালামু আলাইকুম and a very good late afternoon to everyone. সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, আপনারা যে যেখানে বসে এনটিভি ইউরোপের আজকের স্পেশাল অনুষ্ঠান কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্স দেখছেন, আপনাদের সবাইকে শুভেচ্ছা সহ স্বাগতম। বরাবরের মতো আজকেও আপনাদের সাথে আছি আমি আদনান পাভেল। আপনারা যারা রেগুলারলি কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্স দেখেন, আপনারা জানেন কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্স আপনাদের অনুষ্ঠান, আপনাদের নিয়ে অনুষ্ঠান। আমরা সবসময় চেষ্টা করি এই অনুষ্ঠানে আমাদের কমিউনিটির ইম্পর্টেন্ট টপিকগুলো নিয়ে কথা বলার জন্য। আজও তার ব্যতিক্রম নয়। আজকে আমরা খুবই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ একটা টপিকে কথা বলবো। আজকে ফেব্রুয়ারির 4 তারিখ। আজকে কিন্তু 1972 সালের এই দিনে যুক্তরাজ্য কিন্তু বাংলাদেশকে স্বাধীন দেশ হিসেবে রেকগনাইজ করেছিল, এবং তারই ধারাবাহিকতায় আপনারা জানেন যে বাংলাদেশ হাই কমিশনের পক্ষ থেকে, বাংলাদেশ কমিউনিটির বিভিন্ন অর্গানাইজেশনের পক্ষ থেকে এবং এনটিভির পক্ষ থেকে আজকে আমরা এই স্পেশাল টক শো অ্যারেঞ্জ করেছি। 50 years of the strong bilateral relationship between বাংলাদেশ অ্যান্ড ইউকে, এবং এই ইম্পর্টেন্ট টপিকে কথা বলার জন্য আমাদের সাথে আজকে 3 জন সম্মানিত অতিথি আমাদের সাথে উপস্থিত আছেন। 2 জন আমাদের সাথে এনটিভি ইউরোপের স্টুডিওতে স্কাইপের মাধ্যমে জয়েন করেছেন, এবং একজন আমাদের সাথে ইন পার্সন সরাসরি আমাদের সাথে জয়েন করেছেন। আমি আবারও আপনাদের উদ্দেশ্যে ওনাদের 3 জনকে পরিচয় করিয়ে দিব। অ্যান্ড ওয়ান্স অ্যাগেন we will conduct this program both in English and Bangla for our viewers, because we know most of our viewers, they are bilingual. To reach out to our viewers, we'll conduct this program both in English and Bangla. So may I have the honor to introduce my first guest, Her Excellency Saida Muna Tasnim. She is the Bangladesh High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Madam, assalamu alaikum, and thank you so very much for your time today. Thank you very much. Thank you. May I also have the privilege to introduce Mr. Sam Terry MP, Ilford North, UK. Mr. Sam Terry MP, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. May I also have the honor to introduce Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim, former Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Dhaka University. Madam, assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you
very much.
I can hear you very well.
Thank you. Excellent. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the British government's recognition of the independent Bangladesh. We know that the independence of Bangladesh was a very difficult time, but we had to fight for our independence, and it was 9 months of 9 months of sacrifices. So many people died, so many people sacrifices so much, and this is why we got our freedom. Last year Bangladesh celebrated 50th anniversary of its independence. This year, right today, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the recognition of independence Bangladesh by the United Kingdom government. Bangladesh has been enjoying, both countries, both the United Kingdom and Bangladesh, both countries, they have been enjoying very strong partnership, very strong relationship, and I think this relationship has become stronger with the pace of time. Today we'll be discussing different aspects of that relationship and how we can make this relationship even stronger by the mutual cooperation from both countries, from the government, from relevant authorities, and even most importantly people from both countries, both British people and Bangladeshi people, how we can make this relationship even stronger. Without any further ado, I will ask Mr. Sam Terry MP. Bangladesh and the UK have been enjoying excellent relationship, as I mentioned before. This strong relationship has benefited both countries without any shadow of doubt. From your perspective as a British politician, could you please tell for our viewers how important this relationship is from the periscope of a British politician?
Well, thanks, Adam. Look, I mean, it's incredibly important. I represent a constituency with a growing Bangladeshi population in East London. Ilford South has more and more people moving from other parts of the country, particularly obviously further into East London in Tower Hamlets, to better their lives, to have bigger houses. A kind of pattern of migration in London has happened for a long period of time. But historically, the links between our two countries go really far back. In fact, over 40 years, many of your viewers will know that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman actually came here in 1971, and they also know as well that many diaspora community members helped fund, the actions that led obviously to the War of Independence.
Absolutely. They supported financially, they supported morally, and there were a number of protests back 1971 to put pressure on the British government and the Western government to recognize the independent Bangladesh. So the British Bangladeshi diaspora, Bangladeshi community in the UK, they have been contributing significantly for the benefit of both countries. Thank you very much. And it is mentionable that the father of the nation, the great leader Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, when he was released from the jail from Pakistan, straightway he actually came to London before he returned to Bangladesh. So I think this is also a very important, a monumental history.
Yeah, so it's very much a shared history. I mean, I've eaten in Dilshad restaurant a number of times, which is one of the very places still there today, that he had those important meetings discussing what was going to happen, how they put on the pressure for independence and for the British government at that time to recognise that independence. So it's a very conjoined history, to that relationship is historical. But I think we should also look at, in my terms, from the other way, that the enrichment actually of British culture and British society, whether that be food, music, arts. I regularly work with Bangladeshi artists who've had some exposés of their projects in Ilford and East London. So actually it's always been a very important kind of flowing of ideas and support between both countries and communities.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim. If I ask you the same question, that obviously Bangladesh and the UK, they have been enjoying excellent bilateral relationship for many years, and this has definitely benefited people of both countries without any shadow of doubt. From your perspective as a leader in academia and as a development expert, could you please tell for our viewers what are the most important socio-economic arenas Bangladesh has been benefited from this friendship? Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim.
Yes, thank you very much, Pavel. First, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the language martyrs, because this is a month of February, and particularly in this month, the language martyrs sacrificed their lives in 1952, catalyzed the question of Bengali national identity in the then East Pakistan, and later, of course, we got independence and became the sovereign state as Bangladesh. I think Mr. Sam rightly pointed out about the historical relationship actually that we have with Britain. Actually, we were under the colonial rule of Britain for a long time, and now after we became independent, and our relationship is not only in terms of the that we share a lot of things in common, but at the same time, I think we have major bilateral relationship in terms of development and trade, and these two things are very important indicators in terms of the economic development of this particular country. But first, I would like to mention that right after the independence, the British government, they played a pivotal role in terms of development of the people at the root level, particularly through DFID and ODA. And in the beginning, of course, we got a lot of grants and, without any condition. But after we, graduated, as a developing country, and, in 2021, full middle income country, we no longer are receiving any grants, but we are, mostly we are having bilateral relationships in terms of socioeconomic development, women's empowerment, in terms of education, in terms of good governance, not only focusing on economic aspects, but as well social issues too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Thank you. Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim, you have rightly mentioned about women empowerment, and I think UK and many other advanced economy, they have so much to learn from the ongoing development of women empowerment in Bangladesh. We'll talk about it later on. Mr. Sam Terry MP, if I come back to you, that Bangladeshi community in the UK, as mentioned before, they have been working so hard and they have been contributing very positively for the development, economic emancipation and development of the UK and also for Bangladesh, but they do face a number of challenges in the UK in terms of immigration, housing, and various other challenges. What would be your message to those hardworking British Bangladeshi people or Bangladeshi people, those who are residing in the UK? What would be your message to them?
Keep working hard, keep bettering yourselves. I mean, I remember talking with a number of people that set up the original Bangladeshi Welfare Society here in the UK. Now that Welfare Association ran many projects through the 70s and 80s and even to this day, which were about improving the language skills of people that had more recently come to the country from Bangladesh, and also training up the youth, because actually there was a period of time when the language skills of young people who were at that time often probably born in the UK, but their language skills were not as good as they should have been. And so there's been that sense of the community actually looking at itself and saying, how can we better ourselves?
Absolutely.
How can we train up our young people to provide, you know, a good entry point into the wider sort of British society? So many Bangladeshi people in Ilford and across the UK run successful businesses. We have some very successful Bangladeshi business people, ranging from the traditional textiles industry and of course through to the very famous amount of Bangladeshi families and individuals who run particularly Indian restaurants in terms of that food, which is such a almost as popular as fish and chips in this day and age. And so those traditional things have actually now started to expand into a whole range of other areas. You know, I know so many Bangladeshi businesses that work in everything from IT through to construction, you know, any other kind of business. So I think that the contribution that the Bangladeshi community is making on a daily basis here in the UK is phenomenal. You know, and I think that's why it's so important to have this discussion today about how we strengthen those bilateral links. I know a lot of Bangladeshi people based in London have businesses here, but also have business interests in Bangladesh as well. And so creating those pathways for bilateral trade, for bilateral communication and reciprocity, really, in terms of how we support each other, is so important. So my message to the Bangladeshi community is that you are very much part of our community. I'm proud to be your MP in Ilford South, representing the Bangladeshi community. You've always made me feel incredibly welcome, and our histories are very much intertwined. And I see that as a positive thing. As I said before, that cultural exchange, you know, whether that be through music, whether through arts, as well as through business, that is incredibly important and enriches the whole of British society.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Her Excellency Saida Mona Tasnim, she is with us right now, and we know that there has been a number of events organized by British High Commission in Bangladesh and Bangladesh High Commission in the UK. And here mentionable that today Bangladesh High Commission they have organized a virtual event to celebrate the 50 years of recognition of the independence of Bangladesh with the motto friendship in prosperity. So may I ask Her Excellency Saida Mona Tasnim could you please tell us a little bit more about what you mean by friendship in prosperity for our viewers?
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for inviting me to enter these discussions on 50 years of Bangladeshi friendship. We just concluded the program where Minister Lord Ahmed from UK Foreign Office and from Bangladesh, our State Minister for Foreign Affairs, had reflected along with Lord Billy Moria and many other members of the Parliament, and Rushnar Ali, the chair of the APPG, on Bangladesh, and also British Council, DFID, British Foreign Office, and think tanks such as IISS, Lord Remy Ranger. And now I'm very happy, pleased to be with Member of Parliament Sam Terry to be speaking on our relationship. This is a very, very happy occasion. We have completed 50 years of journey, and over the past 50 years, we have shared our prosperity. So when, in my statement, I told you that when Bangladesh was born, the birth of Bangladesh actually brought superpowers into Bay of Bengal, if you recall. And Britain were, as member of a Security Council also, there was a debate in Security Council whether to, put a sanction, to put the Bangladesh legitimate war of liberation as a civil war. But, it was also countered by another superpower. So Bangladesh's geostrategic importance and geostrategic position makes it automatically an important actor in the Bay of Bengal and also in the Pacific region, a special interest of global Britain right now. So starting from post-war Bangladesh, from the 80s, when Bangladesh's apparel industry stood on its 2 feet, Bangladesh started exporting apparel to the UK. Currently, and for many years, Britain has been Bangladesh's number 3 export destination. In our pre-COVID exports, bilateral trade was more than 5 billion. And this year, we have recovered from post-COVID, and it was 4.6 billion. And we hope that on the 50th anniversary, by 2030, it will become 10 billion. So that's the target. And, this is a mutual prosperity issue, bilateral trade. That means we cater to UK's need of apparels, and UK caters to our need of different consumer products and other materials such as, electronic products. So that's one area of prosperity. The other area of prosperity is British companies investing in Bangladesh. UK has been our second largest cumulative investors, 2.5 billion. And it has consistently remained in that position. And we do hope that on our 50th anniversary, that by the next decade, UK would be the number 1 cumulative investor in Bangladesh. And they're also in the financial sector, HSBC, Standard Chartered, British Asian Tobacco, British American Tobacco, Unilever, affiliate, teas, and many other companies are making good profits in Bangladesh, reinvesting their profits every year. Last year, we had $400 million of investment from UK, but we know that many of it is not greenfield investment. They're reinvestments by British companies who are making good profits in Bangladesh's 170 million consumer market. So in the financial sector, in the energy sector, in consumer market sector, IT sector, as Mr. Terry has mentioned, we have a great connectivity where both our countries prosper from bilateral trade and bilateral investment. At the same time, now there's a new area of prosperity. Our British Bangladeshi diaspora, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has given two cash incentives in last 2 years post-COVID to encourage more remittance to the formal banking sector. And there also the diaspora's contribution has gone to remittances. In total, we have a $10 billion of bilateral transactions between the two countries, where people of our two countries are benefiting from this shared prosperity. And now, in the next 50 years, we plan to do climate prosperity under the Mujib Climate Prosperity Plan, which is a low-carbon, high-growth economy. And we want to contribute more towards each other's economy, and hence, prosperity.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for explaining so eloquently about the motto, friendship in prosperity. Thank you all 3 of you for joining us today. We need to go for a quick break. Once we come back, then we'll have further conversation on the bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and the UK. সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, আজকে স্পেশাল কমিউনিটি ম্যাটারসে আমরা বাংলাদেশ এবং যুক্তরাজ্যের 50 বছরের যে ফ্রেন্ডশিপ তা নিয়ে আমরা আজকে কথা বলছি। আজকে কিন্তু বাংলাদেশকে 1972 সালের ফেব্রুয়ারি 4 তারিখে কিন্তু যুক্তরাজ্য বাংলাদেশকে স্বাধীন দেশ হিসেবে রেকগনাইজ করেছিল। তারই ধারাবাহিকতায় কিন্তু আজকে আমাদের এই অনুষ্ঠান। আমরা যাব একটা বিরতিতে, আপনারা আমাদের সাথেই থাকবেন। সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, বিরতির পর আপনাদের সবাইকে আবারও আমন্ত্রণ এনটিভির স্পেশাল কমিউনিটি ম্যাটারসে। বরাবরের মতো আজকেও আপনাদের সাথে আছি আমি আদনান পাভেল। আমরা আজকে কথা বলছি যুক্তরাজ্য এবং বাংলাদেশের 50 বছর ফ্রেন্ডশিপ, এই পার্টিকুলার টপিকে। টুডেস টপিক ইজ 50 years of the strong bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and the UK. And to talk on this particular important topic, we have 3 important guests today. We have Her Excellency Mrs. Saida Mona Tasnim, Bangladesh High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. We have Mr. Sam Terry MP, Ilford North, UK. He is from UK Labour Party. And we have former Information Commissioner and former Dean of Faculty of Social Sciences of Dhaka University, Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim. Thank you so very much, all 3 of you, for joining us today and finding some time from your busy schedule to talk on this important issue. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Sam, before we went for break, you were discussing how the British Bangladeshi community or Bangladeshi community in the UK, Bangladeshi diaspora, how they have contributed for the economic development of both countries. But when it comes to foreign policy, trade, mutual interest, mutual cooperation, too many people, too many critics, too many experts, they think that because of the location of India just beside us, they think that somehow our presence have been sidelined when it comes to foreign policy, UK's foreign policy or America's foreign policy. What do you think of it?
Well, look, I mean, from an MP like mine, where I represent a huge Indian community as well as a huge community from Bangladesh and from the Bangladeshi diaspora, I think there's a lot of British MPs and a lot of British ministers who really champion the cause of Bangladesh. As we heard from Her Excellency before, the fact that they've had government ministers today celebrating that 50th anniversary is so important. But I think in some ways you're comparing apples and pears in the sense that India is a huge continent of nearly 1 billion. You know, India, for people that know, is almost many different countries in one, and so Bangladesh is far smaller, but I think it's important for different strategic reasons, and I think because of those sort of ties that we've talked about before, I don't see it as any less of a priority, but it's a different kind of relationship.
Excellent, thank you very much. So as you mentioned, that it is just a different types of relationship, and there are both the UK government and Bangladesh government, both countries, they have different types of interest, and I think it is important that we recognize and we appreciate that, and we try to make this relationship even stronger. As you mentioned before, that nowadays British Bangladeshi community, they are not just focusing on car industry or other traditional industry that they were involved before. Nowadays they are going to IT sector, they are moving towards the digital technology, and Bangladesh can be benefited out of it. And because, as Her Excellency mentioned, that because of the location, because of the geographic location of the Bangladesh, and also the same time the number of consumers Bangladesh can offer, Bangladesh can be a huge potential sector for many of the IT or many of the digital technologies in the UK. What do you think of it?
No, absolutely, and I think that it's important that we make sure we have a visa system that is fair, that allows people to come to this country and to work here easily, and that's something that I've certainly been championing and pushing as a member of Parliament. But I also think it's about looking ahead to future challenges as well. I regularly get lobbied by my Bangladeshi constituents around issues to do with climate change, for example.
Definitely.
One of the biggest challenges facing Bangladesh, in fact, obviously at COP26 this year, Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister of Bangladesh, was the chair of that process, and it was really important that she was here. In fact, I actually met her when she visited the Foreign Office in London in the days after being at COP26. But that is I see it as an opportunity to share technology, to share solutions, to work collectively, because actually, every country's got its obligations to tackle climate change, but we also have to assist countries that are facing an even more direct challenge. And so I regularly get lobbied by groups of Bangladeshi community members. For example, I know that the Bangladeshi Socialist Society has recently been set up and is doing a lot of work campaigning. The British Bangladeshi UK Association in my particular area is also doing a lot of work on this particular issue. And I see that as something I personally, and I believe lots of Bangladeshis in England believe, is something that needs to be championed, and it's got to be a really core part of our relationship going forwards.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Her Excellency, if I come back to you, if there is one thing this coronavirus pandemic has taught us, is that we live in a very connected and complicated world where we need more mutual cooperation. We need to share and care more so that we can solve the global problems. Today's problem, most of them, they are global. It doesn't respect the national boundaries. So this is why we need more cooperation. Climate change is another issue that we need to cooperate more. Her Excellency, if you could, you also mentioned about women empowerment. So to your view as a senior diplomat representing Bangladesh in a very important country, to your view, what are the areas that you think Bangladesh and UK can cooperate even more to make this relationship even better?
Thank you very much. In today's commemorative event, both of our countries, both our ministers had identified 4 pillars of our relationship that we'll pursue in the future. Number 1 is economy, number 2 is climate, number 3 is security, and number 4 is diaspora. So diaspora connectivity. So you can see the future priority of our relationship. And when it comes to climate, as I've already mentioned, economy, and in the economy sector, our Prime Minister has declared a climate prosperity, Mujib climate prosperity decade. That means in the next 10 years, how to transition into a lower carbon economy. And there we need, she has sought UK's bilateral cooperation. That means investments of green financing from the UK in the energy sector of Bangladesh, in the transport sector, in the agriculture sector, where we can have low carbon. For example, we have a proposal from a UK company that is manufacturing and actually supplying to British Rail dual fuel combustion engine. That means instead of diesel, you use LPG or LNG, and immediately emissions is cut down by more than 50% or 90%. So we are trying to procure more technology, greener technology for Bangladesh, for our transport sector. So that is going to be the future of climate change cooperation, lower carbon emission, higher growth. That's what climate prosperity concept is about. And when it comes to the other pillar, the security, I already mentioned that, in 50 years of our relationship, it's under Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government that many of the new areas of cooperation are unfolding. For example, in 2017, during Theresa May's prime ministership, we created the first Bangladesh-UK strategic dialogue. The strategic dialogue, fourth strategic dialogue, was held last year. And the other new area of cooperation that we've started dialogue is the trade investment dialogue, because we know Bangladesh today is the fastest growing economy in Asia. And, our GDP has quadrupled in last one decade from 80 billion to 410 billion. And in this sudden spur of growth, we are trying to capture our environment-friendly growth. And in there, we are building this cooperation with the UK. And when it comes to security, we are currently the president of Indian Ocean Rim Association. As you know, UK has an Indo-Pacific agenda and Indo-Pacific tilt. And there, the two countries will be looking to the common interest in safety, security, and stability in the Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal. And there, by hosting the 1.1 million Rohingya refugees, Rohingyas from Myanmar, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has hosted that, and British Prime Minister, when he was Foreign Secretary, visited. Many of the Labour MPs also visited. Ms. Rushna Rali also visited. So what I'm saying is that in Bangladesh-UK foreign policy, the security of Bay of Bengal, where Rohingyas also play a very important role, it's a human security issue. We're taking the burden of it, but we want them to go back to Myanmar because this is a security threat to Bangladesh. But by hosting the Rohingyas, we're actually contributing to the stability and peace and security of the Bay of Bengal. So in the next 50 years, the future areas of cooperation, I mentioned economy, climate, security, and diaspora. We believe that the diaspora will become a very important pillar of our relationship. Diaspora philanthropy and charity and the remittances that they send and the organic connectivity that they create, which the UK Foreign Office has mentioned, Brit Bangla Bandhan. That Bandhan, that organic connectivity will be much more stronger in the coming years, in the coming decade. In terms of investments in technology, Bangladesh has nearly 1 million floating IT professionals, and currently UK is our second highest export destination for IT products. And we hope it will be increased by 15% each year. So that is what we are targeting right now.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim,
yes.
we heard about people-to-people connectivity, people-to-people cooperation, institution-to-institution cooperation, country-to-country cooperation. You are Information Commissioner before. You are Dean of Social Science, Faculty of Social Science of a very well-known university, not just in Bangladesh, all across the world, Dhaka University. To your view, too often we hear about the capacity development of important institutions. Do you think the UK government or the British people, they can assist Bangladesh further when it comes to the development of institutions? What do you think of it?
Thank you very much. Actually, Her Excellency, she has very well elaborated all the economic aspects, at the same time the security issues in Bangladesh, and at the same time the good governance issues to a certain degree. And your question is very much on the I must say it's on the governance issues. And I must say that we need to talk, when we talk about these institutions, we need to kind of categorize the kind of institutions we have. Of course, we have political parties. It is the People's Republic. We all know that. And we have political parties. It's a parliamentary system of government. It's unitary state. And we have
so sorry to interrupt you. My apology. It is a very, very important topic. We'll have further discussion on this. We need to go for a commercial break. My production team, they keep telling me that I need to go for a quick break. Once we come back, we'll carry on talking on this important issue. সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, আজকে কমিউনিটি ম্যাটারসে আমরা কথা বলছি বাংলাদেশ এবং যুক্তরাজ্যের 50 বছরের বন্ধুত্ব, এই ইম্পর্টেন্ট টপিকে আমরা যাব একটা বিরতিতে, আমাদের সাথেই থাকবেন। সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, বিরতির পর আপনাদের সবাইকে আবারও আমন্ত্রণ কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্সে। আজকে আমরা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট একটা টপিকে কথা বলছি। আজকে আমরা কথা বলছি যুক্তরাজ্য এবং বাংলাদেশের 50 বছর ফ্রেন্ডশিপ, এই ইম্পর্টেন্ট টপিকে। টুডেস টপিক ইজ 50 years of bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and the UK. And to talk on this important topic, I have three very important guests with me. May I introduce all three of them once again for my viewers. I have Her Excellency Saida Muna Tasnim, Bangladesh High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. I have Mr. Sam Terry MP who is representing Ilford North. He is a member of parliament from UK Labour Party. I have former Information Commissioner of Bangladesh and former Dean of Faculty of Social Sciences, Dhaka University, Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim. Thank you all three of you for joining us today. We know you are very busy, but we really appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim, before we went for break, you were discussing about how the British people, British institution, or even the British government can assist Bangladesh further in its endeavor to make its political institution and other government institution even stronger. So if you could kindly carry on talking about this important issue, I'll really appreciate. Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim.
Okay. Yes, thank you. As I think I left, I was talking about the political structures that we have in Bangladesh. At the same time, the way the government functions. The government actually functions. It is, to a certain degree, it's decentralized. Like we have divisions, we have districts, we have upajelas, and then we have unions, and we have political parties. Major political parties and multi-party system, I must say, and it's the People's Republic, and the state is very much unitary. But at the same time, we need to, recognize that there are other communities in Bangladesh, indigenous communities living in mostly Chittagong hill tracts and as well in the plains. So they have their local traditional institutions too, and with which, of course, the government directly collaborates and works through them. And as I must say that as Mona, Her Excellency Mona has mentioned about the post-COVID situation, and I think the institutions, they can play important role. At the same time, there are other constitutional and non-constitutional institutions like Information Commission, we have Anti-Corruption Commission, we have Human Rights Commission, we have Election Commission too. So these institutions also can play productive role in terms of helping people, reaching the most marginalized and vulnerable communities, particularly women, children, elderly people, and the other like the indigenous communities, Dalits, Harijans. But what I would like to touch on that, if British, of course, they are our friends since last 50 years, and I would like them to touch on mostly the health institutions because the COVID actually exposed us to our health system. I must say that, of course, with the limited resources, Bangladesh, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, played a very commanding role in terms of tackling the COVID situation in Bangladesh. But we know that we need a lot of help in this sector, but at the same time, we need institutional strengthening of these health institutions and the capacity building. This is where I think UK, they are playing their role in other sectors too, but this is one of the important sectors that they can look into. Another sector, I must say, is education. I mean, of course, they are giving a lot of scholarships. We have also come up with the Bangabandhu scholarships in some public universities, where we are commissioning students to study in UK and other European countries too. But they are taking our students and they give this point immigration. So some of our good students, when they graduate from UK, they tend to stay back, and so we are also getting into this fourth industrial revolution. And we would like to have, more competent, skilled human resource. So, I mean, of course, we don't mind them staying back, but this is kind of lead towards a brain drain from the country. So this is also where we can focus on that the Britain, they can help us to develop better education system where the students can actually stay in the country and study and get that kind of skill enhancement.
Thank you very much. Professor, if I remember correctly, you were a student in the UK. You studied at University of
Yes,
Prague,
I
and
did.
then you returned back to
Yes.
Bangladesh. So people, those who, those high caliber students, those who come to UK to study, and then they fall in love with the UK and they want to stay here. But you want them to go back and contribute for the development of
Contribute for
Bangladesh.
the country,
What would be your
yes.
message to them? From your own experience, what would be your message to them?
Yes, well, I did my PhD in McGill, Canada, but I did my postdoctorate in Bath University, UK. And Bath is currently working in collaboration with Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies, and they are mostly, focusing on poverty research. And my message is, of course, you can go and get exposure to Western education. There is nothing wrong with it, but I believe in this slogan that think globally but act locally. So I would like them to return to Bangladesh and contribute for the education of our students.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Her Excellency, if I come back to you, we have seen in recent time the bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and UK have become very, very strong, and under your capable leadership we have seen it has become so phenomenal. Everyone knows about you in Foreign and Commonwealth Office, in Bangladeshi community, even in other community, they know your capable leadership. And we have also seen that Bangladesh has done really well in terms of women empowerment. Bangladesh is one of the countries that has reserved seat for women MPs. So what the UK can learn from these particular development from the Bangladesh? Sir, I think you need to unmute your mic, Her Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adnan. I believe that, Bangladesh today, has developed some very indigenous expertise in 3 areas. Number one is natural disaster management. There was an article by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in 2020, perhaps September, on how Bangladesh moved 2.3 million people in 5 days before the cyclone Amphan. And we hardly had casualties, probably 10 casualties during that cyclone. And you remember a time where hundreds of people would die in natural disasters in Bangladesh, but that's no longer the case. This is something that the world can learn from us. And The Guardian wrote an article. She wrote an article in The Guardian, how, with the Gates Foundation, how we move this, what kind of expertise we've developed. Number two is women empowerment. There are more girls than boys in Bangladesh's primary, secondary, and now Sadeka Halim will agree with me, even in tertiary education. And women are taking a lead in education than boys. I mean, of course, boys need to be in the equal footing, but our country, being a Muslim majority country, has really shown the world that that kind of perceptions or stigma that Muslim majority countries do not educate their women. Bangladesh has proven that wrong. Because of our secular fabric in the society, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina over the past decade had really encouraged and championed women education, and Britain has been a partner in that shared prosperity. The other one is, have you heard about in climate change? We are working with His Royal Highness Princess Trust. The Princess Trust has, initiated a Terra Carta initiative, which is circular economy, a sustainable markets initiative. And there we are going to work on mangroves and nature-based solutions on climate change. You know about Bangladesh's floating agriculture? The floating agriculture is where the farmer plants only uses organic fertilizer and produces, even if we have a flood, we can actually, this is one of the adaptation nature-based solutions. The other one is, drought and salinity resistant rice. Our scientists have invented it. And a number of other inventions that Bangladesh has done in the agriculture sector. So I would say that climate change, adaptation, natural disaster management, women empowerment. And also, I want to add counterterrorism. Bangladesh is now within South Asia. Our counterterrorism index we are the top in the index. When it comes to suppressing radicalization, extremism, and terrorism, Bangladesh Prime Minister's zero tolerance policy has really helped.
Thank you very much. We are almost at the very end of our talk show. We could continue conversation about this important topic for many hours, but we have very limited time. Sam, what would be your final message to our viewers on this important occasion?
Well, joy Bangladesh. Well, of course, we're celebrating 50 years of partnership and friendship. You excellently explained to me on the break about the history of Labour Party MPs supporting Bangladesh at its moment of struggle and independence. I've had the honour in my own constituency of meeting actual war veterans, war heroes from the War of Independence, a number of older members of my local community, and that was very powerful, meeting people who prepared to lay down their lives for their nation's freedom. It was a great honour, and so I think that spirit of determination to fight for what's right, and also to build community, its resilience here in the UK, to expand and to build even stronger bonds between our nations is my message, and I look forward to working with Her Excellency and Professor and many people in the UK and Bangladesh to do that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Professor Dr. Sadeka Halim, what would be your final message to our viewers? Very briefly, please.
Yes. My final message is that Britain is our very, very trusted friend, because when the father of the nation went to Britain on 8 January 1972, and also he met with the then Prime Minister Edward Heath, and this actually shows that he has so much confidence in this country that they would remain our friend, and they have remained our friend, and they will continue to remain our friend. And also that I would like to put a lot of emphasis on the digital citizenship, because we do not know when the pandemic is going to be, we are going to be done with this pandemic, but this connectivity through the, digital commerce, digital relationships, digital trade, all this we need to continue, and we'll be putting a lot of emphasis on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Her Excellency, what would be your final message to our viewers on this very, very important occasion?
I would refer to two messages. One given by Prime Minister Boris Johnson, where he says that he looks forward that today Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and we share the ambition to create an ever more prosperous and environmentally friendly, sustainable future. That is where Bangladesh UK will be in the future. And I also like to refer to Her Majesty's message, where she says that, on the 50th anniversary of Bangladesh, she says, we share the ties of friendship and affection, which remain the foundation of our partnership and are as important today as 50 years ago. So standing on 50th anniversary of our friendship, I would like to echo Her Majesty's message and say that the friendship and affection should be the foundation of Bangladesh-UK relation even in the next 50 years.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, all three of you, for joining us today to discuss this very, very important topic on this very special occasion. We will continue celebrating friendship in prosperity between two countries, Bangladesh and the United Kingdom. সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, আজকে আপনারা যে যেখানে বসে এই অনুষ্ঠান দেখেছেন, আপনাদের সবাইকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ। আপনারা ভালো থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন। থ্যাংক ইউ অ্যান্ড টেক কেয়ার।